Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has declared a 3-day ceasefire on the front because he fears that the Ukrainian Armed Forces could ruin the Kremlin's Victory Day celebrations. At the same time, a short ceasefire is not appropriate for Ukraine right now. This opinion was expressed in an exclusive interview with Obozrevatel by the executive director of the Ukrainian Center for Security and Cooperation, Dmytro Zhmaylo. He is convinced that the defense forces have the resources to congratulate the Russians on Red Square. The ceasefire is not appropriate now. As the President Volodymyr Zelensky said, the Russians are nervous that we will ruin their holiday. This is the main holiday of their empire, the main Sabbath, May 9th, and Grandfather's Fort. This is already a separate religion in the Russian Federation. Therefore, they are afraid of new steps by Syrsky that this will happen under the sounds of sirens and explosions of Ukrainian drones, the expert explained. For the Russian leadership, May 9th should be a demonstration of strength and power before the world community. However, there is every chance that instead of a triumph, this will turn into national humiliation. The Kremlin is counting on simply crushing us, ignoring both Ukraine's proposal for a 30-day truce and the position of the United States. Okay, let's start with at least 30 days. But let's look for real mechanisms to monitor compliance with this ceasefire, because the last ceasefire assumed a 70% reduction in the use of drones, artillery and mortars because we destroyed the shells. And the ceasefire in the Black Sea was better ensured by the defense forces. As soon as it began to operate there, calibers again flew across our land from the Black Sea waters. Zhmaylo emphasized, if the West does not provide Ukraine with alternative options, such as financial support in exchange for a temporary refrain from striking Russian territory, then Kiev reserves the right to refuse such restrained actions. In the absence of constructive proposals, the consequences could be serious. We have all the resources to reach even Red Square, so maybe we won't hit it, because there's a lot of air defense there. But there will be booms and sirens will howl, and all the celebrations will have to be held in bunkers and bomb shelters, the expert summed up. Let us recall that on April the 28th, it became known that Vladimir Putin declared a ceasefire during the celebrations of the 80th anniversary of victory. It will begin at 0000 on the night of May the 7th to the 8th, and end at 0000 hours on the night of May the 10th to the 11th. The decision to stop military actions was allegedly made based on humanitarian considerations.
The European Union's executive branch reacted positively to the U.S. minerals deal with Ukraine on Friday. We do welcome the agreement that was struck yesterday, that it does take into consideration notably the accession process of Ukraine and the EU acquis, EU Commission spokesperson Paula Pinu said at a press conference in Brussels. According to Associated Press, questions about Turkey's censorship of journalists were also raised. After the arrest and conviction of a Swedish journalist in Turkey, the European Commission called upon Turkey to respect media freedom and freedom of expression. These principles must be respected by Turkey, which has committed to aligning with the EU acquis, the European standards and values, said Markus Lammert, another spokesperson for the European Commission. It is crucial that journalists are able to do their job free of any threat of violence, harassment or intimidation to ensure that citizens have access to all diverse and reliable information, he added.
we do welcome the agreement that was struck yesterday, that it does take into consideration notably the accession process of Ukraine and the EU acquis, which obviously is of key importance, and that is something which, of course, we had discussed with our Ukrainian counterparts, and we understand that this was also their concern to make sure that such an agreement would not stand on the way of possible future accession. So this is important also to be said.
Magnus with your active stories. I thought it was timely.
I don't have a comment on the specific case. What I can say in general on arrests of journalists in Turkey is that we expect Turkey as a candidate country to respect media freedom and freedom of expression. These principles must be respected by Turkey, which has committed to aligning with the EU acquis, the European standards and values. It is crucial that journalists are able to do their job free of any threat of violence, harassment or intimidation to ensure that citizens have access to all diverse and reliable information. We call on Turkey to guarantee a safe, pluralistic and independent media environment, enabling journalists to operate without fear of reprisals, censorship or undue pressure. Disproportionate restrictions on freedom of expression, including on social media, are deeply concerning and should be avoided. The Commission will continue to closely monitor developments concerning the rule of law and fundamental rights and freedoms.
Other questions? To Marcus, no. On different subjects. Yes, please.
Soldiers of the Russian army showed the scene after the fire that broke out in their position as a result of the artillery strike by the Ukrainian army. In the footage circulated on Telegram channels, Russian soldiers said that their armored vehicles, trucks and civilian vehicles in the area, documents, all personal belongings, including their clothes, were completely burned. The fire, which covered a large area, also destroyed ammunition. The remains of exploding ammunition can also be seen in the area. The Russian soldiers said that they did not know what to do after the incident.
Вот что после вчерашнего произошло.